Hi there, dudes! So, the weekly schedule for next week has been released, but a couple of problems are on there, so people have been a little bit confused about it. So I wanted to go through all of next week's upcoming events together so that we fully understand what we're actually getting ourselves into, because it's going to be a busy week next week. I mean, right now we've already got a solo event ongoing, and then we have quite a few events and random things going on as well, and we've got a castle event on the way, we've got a special collection event. It's quite a lot of stuff to go through. So first of all, we have the Facebook post here, which was posted a few hours ago, which shows us more or less most of what's coming. But for example, it says that we have an Emerald Wars event on the image, which isn't actually correct. From September 23rd to the 27th, we're actually getting a Sugar Rush event, so complete tasks to collect shakes and give your clan dragon the energy boost to race ahead of rival clans. So Sugar Rush, we haven't really had this event very much. If you're not sure what Sugar Rush actually is, then if you ever saw this, it's sort of like you've given a set of quests that you have to pick out from a pool with your whole clan, and then you have to do them, and then you get these special weird ice cream shakes, and then these give you a set amount of points. But this is Sugar Rush if you have never seen it before, or if you actually don't remember what the event was about. It's not really too different from regular events, it's just there's a weird set of pool quests that you have to do instead. That's assuming that they haven't changed all of that, because they did say that they plan on changing quite a few of the mechanics in the Sugar Rush event, but maybe it'll get you back into clan events because it's different from the regular events that we have. But anyway, that is what we are getting from the 23rd to the 27th. And then from the 23rd to the 30th, of course, we've got a new bottomless dungeon, because it changes every week, and the reward for that is going to be the Flutterby Dragon. It also says that this week players have the chance to find relics of exploration in the medium or large chests, and double egg relics in the final chest. So in that big purple chest, you've got the chance of getting double egg relics, which is pretty good. If you don't get the dragon that you want, double egg relics are pretty top tier for what you want to get. But this is the Flutterby Dragon if you wanted to see a bigger picture of him, and he is a wind, energy, and void epic. So if you want to use him on your team, at least you know what his elements are as well. But he is going to be the dungeon reward dragon. Then we've got a crowded nursery. That's whatever. No one really cares. There's no reward for that. Then September 27th to the 7th of October, Heaven and Earth event. Explore this Chinese-themed castle event to progress through the stages and unlock the new Green Lion Dragon. So, for the Heaven and Earth event, the final prize looks like it's going to be the Green Lion Dragon, but they've also got the Azure Dragon on the front here, and the Azure Dragon, he's here, he's a wind, shadow, and light dragon, but he's very pretty. I missed out on him last time because I was busy during his Dragon's Delight event period, so he is going to be coming back from the looks of things, probably as the mid-tier reward dragon, and then we have the Green Lion Dragon as the main reward for the event. So you can see these are the two lions. We've got the red lion on top, we've got the green lion on the bottom here. They're just different colours, basically. So that is what is going to be coming from the 27th to the 7th. And then September 27th to the 7th also is the Crimson Roar Collection event. Collect all dragons from the Heaven and Earth event, and you'll be rewarded with the partner Red Lion Dragon. So you have to get every single dragon from the whole event, and then you'll get the red version of him. Okay, so the green one is easier to get than the red one. Okay, we got that straight, 'cause for the red one you got to get everything. It's not going to be too different because there isn't like a divine collection going on, but you need to get all of them to get him. And then there is 27th to the 30th, a golden opportunity, with the prize being the Heavenly Dragon. So if you're into spending gold, then maybe you want to get your hands on the Heavenly Dragon, which is also another Chinese-y themed dragon. And he's pretty cool. He's an earth, fire, and metal dragon. Not too shabby-wabby, but pretty cute dragon overall. And then the other thing that's not really mentioned on here is the weekly dragon, which is going to be the Raincoat Dragon. And I don't know why it isn't really mentioned anywhere on the actual schedules themselves. But if you ever really want to know how to breed a Dragon of the Week that's coming up and you know what it is, there's always going to be a thread on the Game Law forums, for example, here that says Weekly Dragon, Raincoat, and I don't always post what the combination is going to be for it. So we've got the Raincoat here. He's a cute one. I enjoyed him when he came out originally, but to breed him, you need to breed together a melon and a salamander dragon. And if we scroll down here, the Raincoat does not share any breeding time with anyone else. But it's got to be noted that if you're trying to breed for the Raincoat, then there is also the chance for you to breed the Azure Dragon. So you may end up with a 2-day breeding time by accident. So if you're going for either of them, either Raincoat or the Azure Dragon, then this combo is actually not going to be too bad for you. But there's probably better combinations for you to be using if you want to go for the Azure outright. But if you want to sort of try and 50-50 it, I guess, maybe you should go with this combo. It's up to you at the end of the day. But he is the Dragon of the Week as well. So make sure that if you want to go for him, you've got your Melon and your Salamander Dragons ready. So that is all of the news that they actually posted to us for things to expect. Again, don't worry about that Emerald Wars thing, but have you ever seen that the dragon, there's a huge dragon for the Emerald Wars event? How he's just a big block of land? It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool, really. So that is everything that you should expect in the next week or so. Main thing to be noting is the fact that we have the castle event coming up. So, you know, it's going to be the same thing as always when an event's coming. Don't put in super long timers. Ideally, you don't want to be breeding for the Libra if you've got the castle event coming. But at the same time, we don't have very long to breed the Libra left. We've only got 9 days left, so, you know, I was breeding for the Sentinel Dragon. I'm actually going to give up on that idea. I am just going to start trying to breed for the Libra Dragon instead of going for the Dragons of the Week. Because 9 days left is getting very close. It is cutting it quite fine with getting that legendary. So I'm going to be on it with the breeding. As soon as these guys finish their breeding, I'm going to come back. I'm going to rebreed. I'm going to be using Kronos. I'm going to be using everything at my disposal. If we get some breeding den time skips, things like that, I'm going to use it. If we get a double egg relic, I'm going to use it. Because on average, to breed a legendary for me, at one point, you know, it's difficult when you're trying to judge how likely you are to breed something, especially with RNG and how it works. But in the past, I took like a big list of how many tries it took me to get X Dragon of the Month. Sometimes it took me 1 try, sometimes it took me 3 tries, but averaging out all of them for, you know, roughly the amount that it took me on average to get all of them over like I think it was like a 7 to 8 month period. It took me about 20 attempts on average to breed a Dragon of the Month. That was, again, that's an average that I got, which is really iffy because, again, you shouldn't say, oh, that means that every 20th breed you're going to get a legendary, because that's not how breeding and RNG and things like that works. But that's just sort of how it seemed to work itself out. Every 20th breed, roughly, seemed to be the key overall. It was sort of the middle ground for what it took. But some of those dragons took 60 attempts, some of those dragons took 2 attempts. It's just, with RNG, every time you try and breed something, it's gonna be the same odds. Like, if we've got a 4% chance, for example, of breeding the Libra, this breed, the next time we breed for it, it's gonna be the same 4% chance. So it's not like consecutive breeding is going to give us boosted odds or anything like that. That's not how it works. It does mean, though, that there is a formula that you can use where if you've got a 4% chance of a drop happening, you can work out how many times it will take on average for that to work out. There is actually a formula for that you can do online. There's a bunch of websites that calculate it. But I'm just going off of all of the stats that I went through, and again, it doesn't really mean much because that's not how it works out, but it's sort of, it's like after I've done about 20 breeds, I'm like, you know what, we're sort of going above the normal boundaries for what to expect. I guess we're slightly unluckier than usual this week compared to my previous, or this month compared to the previous months that I've bred. But, you know, in actuality, working out percentages from, you know, drop rates and breeding rates and things like that. It is a little bit more complicated than just there's a 4% chance. Because if you're trying to work out on average how many days it's going to take and how many rebreeds it's going to take, you got to do a little bit more intrinsic maths. But there's online calculators to do that for you, which is the beauty of the internet. You don't know anything? Look it up online. You don't know how to calculate something? You can find out within 2 seconds. It's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. The only problem becomes when you're not aware that there's a way to calculate it, or there's something that you're supposed to do to calculate it the proper way. Then it becomes sort of a problem. Because then people don't understand why they're supposed to use it, or why they can't just say there's a 90% chance of breeding this dragon because they got it on their second try twice. Because people do indeed do that, where it's like someone in the comment section of like the Dragon of the Month breeding guide, they'll be like, oh, what combination should I use? And then someone will say, you should use the prairie and tiger dragons. I used it and I got it on my third try. It's got like an 80% chance of being correct. You should use it, definitely. 100% guaranteed works. You know, there are people that genuinely do that every single time I put out a video like that. I'm like, dude, please, you really don't understand how breeding works. Imagine ever using a Dragon of the Month breed with 2 epics, or like an epic and a 3 element rare. Ugh. It's disgusting. You can't do that. You cannot do that. Because you gotta remember that when it comes to breeding for Dragons of the Month, the reason you always want to use just 4 elements is because the Dragon of the Month only requires 4 elements. So you don't ever want to throw in extra elements into that pool. So if it's like a fire, water, earth, energy, for example, just as a random one, you don't want to be throwing plant into the mix, because then it gives a bunch of other possibilities as well. And people don't seem to understand that just because the breed worked for you, that doesn't mean that it is the most optimal breeding combination for everyone else to use. It just means that you got lucky on your breed. And I feel like people that don't really understand how RNG works on a fundamental level, they'd like to, you know, claim stuff like that. But what you're actually doing is you're making the experience for the other people actually more detrimental, because if you start giving people recommendations of really, really suboptimal breeds, chances are they're not going to breed it in that month. So you sharing that information, like breed a tiger dragon and a horned dragon together, they're probably going to struggle very much in getting the Dragon of the Month breed. Obviously those two don't have the elements for the Libra dragon, so to suggest those would be stupid beyond all belief, which has happened before as well. But you gotta remember, it's just like the divine chest. It's like, just because someone in the world managed to get the 300 pieces for Chrono Seth in their 4th chest, that certainly didn't happen for me. That certainly didn't happen for 99.9% of the player base. They just got super duper lucky, and there is nothing that you can do to change that. As unfortunate as it may be, and as sucky as it may feel, DML is a game that thrives off of RNG, and there is nothing that you can do to alter that RNG in those specific circumstances. Just like breeding, the only thing that you can do is level up your dudes. And that increases your odds of breeding the legendary, but it also increases your odds of breeding the epics. So you gotta take all of that into account. But I really, really don't want people to continue saying things like, use this one really obscure bad combo just because it worked for me once. I've been seeing quite a lot of it recently. And the people that are doing that, I get that you're trying to help people, but in reality all that you're doing is you're making it more difficult for them. Because lower level guys, they probably don't understand the basics of like breeding and why you should only use dragons with 4 elements. So don't suggest things unless you are like certain that you're right. Please. I have to go through and like demand that people don't do that, and then they feel hurt. I'm not trying to... It's not like I'm trying to, you know, hurt anyone by saying I'm sorry, but what you said is literal, like, garbo. I don't like when people give complete misinformation to the newer players, especially, because then if you teach people the wrong things at a base level, then they're gonna live the rest of their playtime believing that to be true, and they're gonna build beliefs off of that, and then they're gonna be completely wrong about how the entire game works. So it's sort of like if you taught everyone when you're like adding numbers together to do it in a very different way, and then that person grows up believing that adding numbers should be done a very different way to how it actually should. You know, it's just gonna set them up for a bad time. So I hope all of that makes sense. But I guess it doesn't really matter too much at the end of the day. Just don't do it unless you're certain. You know, it's quite a simple concept. But at the same time, I appreciate that people are trying to help other people out, even if the info is wrong. Because even though they may be super misleading, and they may be causing bigger problems, at least the thought is there. You know, it's better than being someone that's like, no, I'm going to harbour all of my secrets, my secret plans to myself. Although I suppose, if the advice is like blatantly wrong, maybe it was a better idea for them to keep it to themselves, but anyway. I guess that was my topic for today. I always end up randomly talking about something somehow. How does it even come into my brain? I don't know. It just happens. Brain goes on mysterious and strange pathways, I suppose. But regardless, I guess that is what you should expect for the next week. If you're still trying to breed Libra like me, you should probably get on it, like a cub on it, which is going to mean that perhaps your solo event progress or your castle event progress might be stunted quite a bit. But I guess you gotta decide, what is worth it more to you? Finishing off the Zodiac collection, or just getting the Libra Dragon in general, or completing the castle solo events and things like that? Because if you're still waiting on the breed to be successful, you've gotta start deciding which one is more important to you. I think just because I've come so long through the Zodiac collection, that's why I'm focusing on the Libra. I don't actually care about the Zodiac Dragon, but it's a commitment now. Might as well stick to it for a while. Whereas the solo events and the castle events, I'm sure that those dragons will get re-released at some point anyway, and I don't really care too much. So, I don't care about that all that much at the end of the day. But for now, I suppose that is everything that I wanted to share with you. So, best of luck. I hope you get all the breeds that you need. And, if you got the Sentinel, kudos to you. I've missed him again. But that is mostly through my own action and inaction, I should say. But for now, thank you very much for joining me. Remember, the clam is on sale. And until next time, I shall see you then.